What else in the Google business profile do people need to be looking at?
Yeah, it's such a great question, because there's the consumer facing piece, and then there's the behind the scenes piece.
Okay.
Right. So the product is consumer facing. So it's really easy to deconstruct that when you're looking at someone's profile. You can see, they built into this that one of the services they offer are, I just had a real estate agent we spoke with last week who focuses on divorce and probate and that kind of stuff. That was built into the profile. And if, a crisis in one's life, they're looking, I need to work with somebody who understands probate to work with me on my home, or to take over this family member's home, what have you. That's built into the profile. Great. That's on the front end. But on the back end, there are services and there are categories. Now, the caveat to all of this is to be compliant. There's a lot of people that do what we do who make suggestions on Google profiles that are not compliant with Google. And so I'm not talking about real estate board compliance. I'm talking about Google compliance, because Google's bots will approve many of these things without reviewing them. And then they get audited. They do these rolling audits and they find these things. So keeping that in the back of our minds as we talk through it, services and categories are in the back end of a Google profile. So the front end shows one category, real estate agent. But in the back end, there are other categories, and there are manually inputted categories and services like Spanish-speaking real estate agent, like, there's one category that a license that a realtor can have around working with seniors. All of those things can be built into the back end, and Google sees them. The consumer may not see them, but Google sees them and Google loves them. And then one other sort of step back to the reviews that coincides with all that data in the background is that Google, and I know you probably know this, Chris, for sure, but a lot of real estate agents don't realize Google reads every review. They read the language of the review. So when I say John Smith is the best listing agent in Austin, when someone Googles best listing agent in Austin, Google sees the exact match of that language and loves it. And if I say Chris is an awesome listing agent, Google finds the synonym to the word awesome, which is top or best or excellent, and will still rank for that language. So in the back end, in the front end, you have reviews, not just the number, but the content. And then you have the products, and you have Q&A. Those show up on the front end. But on the back end, you have services, categories, and all of those things that can be manually inputted. Now, one extra thing I would add onto that is that folks often think, okay, great, I'm going to have all of my reviewers write the word top and best in their review. And I'm going to make a category and a service called top real estate agent in. Those are both no-nos. So for the latter, if you create services that aren't truly services, you might get approved for them, but Google can easily audit them. They can just remove them, and sometimes they can suspend the profile and make it go away for a bit until you explain what's going on. You don't want to get into that mess.
This is okay. So there's a couple things I want to pick up on.
Yeah, sure.
The first advice is do this from a point of being genuine and authentic, right?
100%.
Don't try and game the system. It's sort of like
100%.
my wife's a corporate controller and accountant, and she's like, when talking about taxes, a lot of times she'll be like, well, the IRS thought you would think of that. Right. And Google a lot of times is the same. It's like they thought you would think of that, and they might not catch you when you do it, or when you're getting traffic from the thing that you've done. But when they take away your entire profile, you're going to think, well, maybe that was a bad long-term move. Right. So do it authentically. But I think the bigger picture here, which is just a good marketing 101, and I think also ties in with a lot of the conversation people are having about the NAR lawsuit and the future of real estate, is you got to differentiate yourself, right? Are you the Spanish speaking real estate agent who's good at handling divorces? Right. And carve yourself out a niche so that you not only send very clear signals to Google on, this is exactly what I'm good at, and someone like this should come to me, but also, you're carving yourself out a defendable niche. So when you're saying this is why I charge what I do, it's bam. Yeah. Because you're the person that's best at doing that.
Right. Coming right back to what you said, which is doing it all genuinely. So, at the end of the day, Google is legitimizing their Google profile. They want this to show the truth about a business. And so the more ways you can think of subvert or getting around that, the more ways, to your point, that Google will think of those things and pull them all back in. Right. And so net is differentiate yourself the way you can and should be legitimately. And everybody's got these amazing things that they know how to do. And here's one, tip I could give you right now on that. Most real estate agents want to focus on an area, and it's not just the whole city because that's too big of a pool. They've got a very particular focus where their geographic farm might be, something like that. And so if you're going to do that, if you really want to differentiate yourself, get hyper-focused on your area and move your Google profile to that area. Then you're more likely to rank in that area. Just to add on to what that means, your office location, your brokerage, where there could be 10 agents, 50 agents, 100 agents, that's in downtown Austin. But your home, I don't know any Austin neighborhoods. But
like, let's say like Circle C, right?
Circle C?
Round Rock.
Round Rock, perfect. Okay, yeah. So, but I'm focused on Round Rock. That's where I live. That's where I farm. That's the home value average I'm focused on. That's the turnover rate that's a focus for me. If you live there, you can move your profile to your home and hide the address. It's called service area business. So do not do this and keep the address showing. You move the profile there, turn off the address. Google still knows you're in that area. So when I look for Round Rock, right?
Yeah, Round Rock.
Round Rock, top best Round Rock Austin real estate agents, you will be able to rank for that hyper local specific search query because Google knows that's where you're located. So just something to keep in mind. One way you can differentiate yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to put in a plug for the audience here real fast because I think that Scott is explaining some things that other guests have talked about, right? So Teresa Bastian, who we're going to have coming up on the show again here real soon. She lives in a neighborhood called Circle C and services a lot of people in that neighborhood. So like exactly what you're saying, like she checks all the boxes for doing really well at the stuff that you're talking about. The other episode people should go check out is Harris from a couple weeks ago. And he talks about like basically getting those genuine reviews. Mm-hmm. And, for him, it was like a natural evolution of something that he just like, kind of figured out on his own. But you're explaining the technical back end of like why it's working.
Right.
So yeah, awesome.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And just to jump onto that real quick, because it's such an important point. It's about the things you can control, right? Like you said earlier, I can't control competing with Zillow, but what I can control is asking all of my customers for reviews, replying to those reviews, making sure that my Google profile is in the area that I focused on. And most importantly, putting in all of my certifications, accolades, all that stuff into the profile so that Google can read it and I can differentiate myself from the rest.
Have any of your clients worked to, craft profiles that are around like, I think about, we're using Austin as an example because, it's a good one, but like in Austin, there's a lot of company relocations, it's like I work for Google, I work for Apple, it's like, and I'm, doing that path, right. Or second home things is probably another one that people really want to, I'm in Myrtle Beach, I'm in Lake of the Ozarks, I'm in, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. What have you seen people doing to kind of just double down on their niches?
Great question. So there's the Google profile, and then there's the other pieces that are outside of our own breadth of services, but there's still things that folks can do. So you should have, if you focus on lakefront property in wherever you are in the Muskoka region of Ontario, Canada, as an example, where I'm from originally, if that's where your focus is, then you can build that into your products. You can build that into your services. You can have you can have second home properties. All of those things can be built into services and categories because you're a consultant in that area. You focus on that area. You're licensed to work with people for those reasons. There's mortgages and all that kind of stuff that are focused on that type of buyer. On top of that, you can build a Facebook business page, as you should, that's around that topic. You can have a page on your website. So when we talk about backlinks, and not to get too in the weeds on this, but I could be linking back to my website, but I can also be linking back to the page on my website. So it's the same URL, but it's the page, it's the / page. So now it's the second home or lake view properties, what have you, page on my website that links to the product about that. So there's all ways that you can build into the profile these niches, but also website additions, Facebook business pages, Instagram, all that stuff, YouTube videos with all of the right tags around that type of real estate that can all be built around your focus.
This episode of Keeping It Real is brought to you by Real Geeks. Real Geeks is the all-in-one real estate sales and marketing technology platform that is designed to make real estate professionals more efficient. New for 2024, Real Geeks has 4 packages. The base package, which is the same platform that everyone's used to that starts at $299, as well as 3 packages that include leads. So if you're looking to upgrade your technology and get leads, we've got something for everyone. All of the packages include SEO Fast Track, which is Real Geeks' AI-enabled SEO tool, which builds out long-tail, programmatically driven AI content for your listing pages. Data coming off this has been great in terms of generating long-tail traffic for our customers. You want to check this out? Head over to realgeeks.com and tell them that you saw us on Keeping It Real.